Lesson 4. Independence and Creativity of Man. This lesson is on independence and creativity, the essential attributes of man. Independence is of primary importance in essential attributes of man. Leader Kim Jong-il said, "Independence is an attribute of social man who is desirous of living and developing in an independent way as master of the world and his own destiny." Independence is literally an attribute of man who is desirous of living as master of everything, that is, an attribute of man who is desirous of becoming master of nature, society, and himself. Independence means becoming master without depending on others in the literal sense of word. With independence, man opposes all sorts of subjugation and subordination and makes everything serve him. Independence is an attribute of man who is desirous of living freely against all sorts of natural and social subjugation and subordination. It is an intrinsic demand of man to live free from all sorts of natural and social subjugation and subordination. Freedom is condition where one can realize his desire without being restricted by any subjugation and subordination. There are many factors restricting man in the surrounding world. The factors restricting man and his activities are found not only in nature but in society. Man has suffered from natural factors such as drought, flood, earthquake, etc., and social subordination such as class and national domination. Man does not want to live under such natural factors and social subordination. Man does not live by tolerating factors and subordination of the surrounding world and adapting himself to them, but struggles against them to free from them. Historically, man has struggled against factors and subordination, and the struggle is now continuously expanded and developed in widths and depths. Independence is also an attribute of man who is desirous of living and developing as master by making nature and society serve him. Man opposes natural factors and social subordination in order to make them serve him and live as master of the world and his destiny. Man's independent desire to live as master of the world and his destiny is divided into the desire to live as master of nature, the desire to live as master of society, and the desire to live as master of himself. The desire to live as master of nature is the desire to live and develop with abundant material life and health physique, free from all kinds of natural factors. The desire to live as master of society is the desire to live and develop with eternal socio-political integrity as master of state and society, free from all kinds of social subjugation and subordination. The desire to live as master of himself is the desire to lead abundant spiritual life and develop spiritually and culturally, free from outdated ideological and cultural subordination. Independence is an attribute of a social being. As man is a social being, he has independence as an essential attribute. Man is a social being who forms a social collective to live. Therefore, he raises the independent desire of collective and the independent desire of individual and realizes both of them. Independent desire of a collective is a common desire of the collective's members for existence and development of the social collective. Independent desire of individual is the desire the individual has as an equal member of a social collective and a desire that can be deservedly provided as he makes contribution to the social collective. Independent desire of individual is fundamentally different from individualistic greed. Independent desire of individual places the interest of social collective above others, reconciles interest of collective with that of individual, and realizes the latter in the former. However, individualistic greed ignores collective, confronts interest of collective with that of individual, and places the latter above the former, making everything serve the latter. Therefore, individualistic greed is fundamentally distinguished from the independent desire of individual and has nothing to do with the intrinsic demand of man. Independent desire of collective and independent desire of individual are realized wonderfully through collectivism. Collectivism can only strengthen unity and cooperation of collective, enhance creative zeal of all members of the collective, and combine independent desire of collective properly with that of individual, thus realizing both of them wonderfully. Independence is life and soul for man. When we say that independence is life and soul for man, it means socio-political independence. The life where socio-political independence is realized is the life in which people exercise independent rights as masters of the state and society, free from all sorts of social subjugation. Such a life only suits to the intrinsic nature of man. If man is deprived of socio-political independence, he will suffer from social subjugation and subordination, and lead a slave's life submitted to others. Such a life is the same as that of animals. Like this, for man, the social being, independence is the most precious, that is incomparable with anything. In this respect, independence is life and soul for social man. As independence is life and soul, the fundamental attribute for social man, he is much and urgently interested in defending and realizing his independence, and desires the society in which independence is embodied. In this respect, the one in which independence of man, the masses of the people, is embodied, is an advanced and superior society, and the one in which man's independence is infringed upon and obliterated is a reactionary and unpopular society. As it is a society which thoroughly defends and realizes independence, the life and soul of social man, socialist society becomes the most superior and advanced society in history. Creativity is one of man's attributes along with independence. Leader Kim Jong-il said, "Creativity is an attribute of social man who transforms the world and shapes his destiny purposefully and consciously." Creativity is an attribute of social man who transforms the world and shapes his destiny purposefully and consciously. By virtue of creativity, man transforms nature and society to be more useful and beneficial to him by changing the old and creating the new. Creativity is man's attribute of making everything necessary for him while approaching the surrounding world purposefully and consciously. Things and phenomena of the surrounding world move and change according to their law. In order to make living, man cannot ignore objective laws of the world. Man does not adapt himself to the objective laws, but cognizes and utilizes them in an active way. Man cognizes things and phenomena of the surrounding world, and on its basis transforms them into those with new structure and quality. Creativity is an attribute of creating the necessary environment purposefully and consciously by cognizing and utilizing actively the objective laws. Creativity is also man's attribute of transforming nature and society to be more useful and beneficial to him by changing the old and creating the new. Creation means creating the new that were not given, or changing and developing the established ones. Man changes the old and backward among things and phenomena of the surrounding world to breed new animals and plants, and invent new machines and equipment, found new ideas and knowledge, and establish new social system. Quite new things and phenomena that can never be seen before appear thanks to man's activities to change the old and create the new. Human history was the process in which people make the new and continuously create everything necessary for the life by changing the old. Creativity is an attribute of social man. As he is a social being, man has creativity as an essential attribute. While combining in social relations and forming a social collective to live, man has regarded creation as an inevitable mode of living. Environments needed for man can be provided only when man makes purposeful and conscious efforts to transform the surrounding world. While being combined in social relations and forming a social collective to live, man has also creative ability to transform nature and society. Creative ability is man's capability of creating the new and developing it ceaselessly as required by his will and desire. According to the field of man's creative activities, creative ability can be divided by the one for nature harnessing, the one for social transformation, and the one for human remolding. Creative ability for nature harnessing enables man to realize his desire to live and develop as master of nature with scientific and technological knowledge on nature. Creative ability for social transformation enables man to realize his desire to become master of society by transforming social relations and improving social administration. Creative ability for human remolding enables man to realize his desire to become master of himself by developing education, science, art, and literature. When social unity and cooperation are strengthened, creative ability turns into strength of powerful collective. Creative ability of individual is limited. However, strength of collective is powerful strength of united members of the collective and driving force of the world transformation and development. As creativity is an intrinsic nature of social man, he aspires after building and developing the society where his creativity is displayed to the full and struggle for its end. Thank you for this lesson. Next lesson, we will discuss about consciousness, an essential attribute of man.